welcome, my day walkers, my creatures of the night, my warriors, and everybody else in between. Welcome back to L.E.O. This is the podcast on the infinite frequency where we talk recovery, spirituality, and mental well-being. And I also cover special topics. Now, today is the first part in a mini-series on a land called Doggerland. And what I want to do is walk you through it. But before we do that, let's have a check-in. How are you all? How has life been treating you? I know this is a very, very difficult time of life, a year for many, many people, especially if you're just coming into the recovery realm, or if you're just, trying to find some spirituality along the way and some faith. It can be a very testing time for all of us. Some of the techniques that I have learned is to pause, to take a breath, to avoid crowded places. That helps me. If you're new in recovery, remember you don't have to attend every invitation you're invited to. Especially if it's, if it's going to cause you to go back to your old habits and your old behaviour. So before making a decision to go, ask yourself, are my motives pure? Have I got, do I need to go? And why am I going? And if you can answer all of those honestly and you've got a good reason to be there, feel free to do that. Just then go there, have an exit strategy. Maybe don't stay as long as you would before. Maybe take a friend or have a somebody on the same journey as you. Like some numbers ready to call if you get squirrely. That's just a little bit of advice. Some suggestions, not advice. Sorry. First of all, as well, before we carry on, just remember, I am completely uneducated. And I couldn't even read and write properly 5 years ago, and I've continued on this journey and found that I've been able to learn just a little bit along the way, not a lot, just a little bit, and that I can now read and converse and construct scripts and stuff that I'm able to articulate in a way that resonates with some people, which is awesome. I want to say welcome to everybody who's listening, wherever you are, and I know that we are wide now. It goes right across the world, which is incredible. I am backing away from doing as many shows as I was, for a few reasons. I've don't want to burn myself out. I've taken on a couple of other tasks. I'm also looking at going into my counselling, because I do want to become a counsellor eventually, so that would be awesome. So I've got lots of things happening, positive things in my personal life. Plus I do some work on TikTok as well. I go on in the evening, and I do that every day, and I will do through December, because I don't want people to be alone. So there's an awful lot going on. So just keep an eye out. I will obviously, I think it's probably going to be one show a week, maybe two at most. They're going to be slightly longer episodes. Like this one will be a bit longer today. I am just sticking with this Doggerland. So the Warriors and the Vikings and anybody else out there who's interested, this is going to be a mini series running across a few weeks. So if that's your thing, just sit back, grab a coffee, grab a cup of tea, put your feet up, and we'll get into that in a moment. You probably noticed there's been another rebrand, and there's a reason for that. I won't go too much into it. I had changed the name and then went to build a website and got... let's put it this way. I misunderstood what I had agreed to, and unfortunately I lost the domain names as well. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to make it very simple, and we're going to call it L.E.O, which is my name. And as you know, L.E.O also stands for life equals opportunity. So, but I just thought if I kept it simple, when I tell people what's the podcast, it's L.E.O. and then you'll all be able to find it. Now, it's not Leo's podcast, it's just L.E.O. Oh, sorry about that. So, yeah, that's my equipment. I'm using different equipment today, giving this a test to see how it works, how it comes out, because there's been some distortion and stuff in some of the previous shows. And I don't want to lose any of the content to, dodgy equipment, so to speak. So, yeah, that's that. So without further ado, I think we can get into it. Do you know what? I'll tell you what I fancy. Before we start, how about a tiny bit of Christmas music? That way I can go chuck a cup of the kettle on, have a cup of tea, and then we can crack through it. So tell you what, sit right there. I'm going to turn me, you'll hear it say power on in a minute. That's not my energy. That's just a speaker, so that I can use that to, oh, here we go. So you sit back and enjoy it. Unfortunately, you might be able to hear other noise in the background. If my dog starts woofing or saying hello, that's all good. I will be right back. Welcome back. Sorry, that went on a little bit longer than I anticipated. Let's just get that to go down and then we can start our we can start the show. So I hope you enjoyed that. All that music is by Kevin MacLeod. He's got a free, royalty-free library on YouTube that anybody can use. He just asked that you accredit him with the work, which I have no issue with, because without that we wouldn't be able to have a little bit of a musical interlude. So let's get into it. You can hear I'm out of breath. I was trying to rush and I trod in my dog's water bowl. Hey ho. Right, let's go. So, Doggerland. Bum ba da dum bum bum. This is the land beneath the North Sea. So, they call it Doggerland now. A name pulled from fishing charts and wind farm maps. But long before those machines carved lines across the sea, before fishermen cast their nets into this cold expanse, there was a world here. A world of rivers and forests, of red deer, of orcas, of people who sang to the dawn across the plains where waves now roll. So tonight we dive into that forgotten continent, and it was the bridge between Britain and Europe, the heartland of our ancestors. This is not myth. This is a memory buried beneath the tides. Chapter 1. Birth of a hidden land. So, after the last ice age, around 12,000 BC, the great ice sheets began to retreat. Where there had been glaciers, a mile thick meltwater poured into basins and carved channels. The North Sea was not a sea at all. It was a valley. Rivers ran from what is now the Thames across the Rhine and the Elbe. Imagine that, a single immense river system flowing through open plains of grass and woodland. And this, my friends, my tribe, this was Doggerland. A stretch of land nearly 100,000 square miles wide, and it linked Britain to Denmark, the Netherlands and northern Germany. It was not a barren Tarda, it was alive. Birch and pine gave way to oak and hazel as the climate warmed. Reindeer migrated north, followed by red deer and wild boar. And following them was us. Archaeologists call this the Mesolithic, the Middle Stone Age, the age of hunters and gatherers. But this wasn't people lost in darkness, no. They understood the language of wind and season. They mapped their world through sound, scent, and memory. They were the first true navigators. They were the wayfinders of the North. Chapter 2. The people of the plains. Picture the morning mist rolling across low wetlands. A family rises from their reed shelters. The smell of wood smoke and fish still lingers from the night before. Children wade the shallows chasing birds. Elders knap flint into blades, each strike echoing against distant herds. This was home, not a camp, but a country. From dredged bones and peat blocks, we know they hunted mammoth, elk, bison and wild horse. We found their tools, microlithic blades, bone harpoons and antler picks. Off the coast of Norfolk, fishermen hauled up a human jawbone, 8,000 years old, and that jaw tells us they were ours. Early Europeans, not some separate species. We even recovered DNA fragments from sediment cores, proof that red deer, brown bear, and humans all shared this drowned landscape. Think of their world: gentle hills, lakes, glinting underneath the northern sun, herds moving with seasons, and scattered across it, circles of stones, burial grounds, places of ritual. It was a sacred geography, mirrored later in the myths of Scandinavia and Albion. Long before men built Stonehenge, Doggerland has its own silent temples, grooves, clearings, raised mounds of earth where the people spoke with the spirits of the land. Chapter 3. The Shape of the World. Through modern science, we began to see Doggerland again. Oil companies mapping the seabed with seismic data stumbled upon something extraordinary. Rivers, lakes, and ridges hidden under the sediment. One of them, now called the Shotten River, once ran for hundreds of miles through what is now open water. Geologists stitched these fragments into a map, a ghostly atlas of a lost country. The Dogger Bank itself, where trawlers now drag their nets, was a high ridge, a long, low hill rising above fertile plains. Some believe it was the last part to remain above the waves, a final island before the flood took all. The climate warmed, and this was between 8000 BC and 6000 BC. The sea rose by over 100 feet. The coastline retreated mile after mile. Imagine watching your forest become marsh, your marsh become bay, and your bay become sea. You see, it didn't happen overnight. It happened across generations. Every grandfather would point to a distant shimmer on the horizon and say, "There, that's where my fathers hunted." The drowning begins, chapter 4. You see, nature does not always move slow, and around roughly 6200 BC, something immense occurred. The Storgate slide. Storgate slide, a submarine landslide of Norway's coast. A chunk of seabed larger than Scotland collapsed. Now this displacing billions of tons of rock. The result was a tsunami, possibly 60 feet high, racing across the North Atlantic. The waves smashed into the coasts of Scotland and Netherlands. It surged over the remaining Dogger Bank. For those living there, if any still were. It must have been an apocalypse. The fire snuffed out in a single surge, the gods roaring from beneath the deep. When the waters calmed, the landscape was gone. What had been a homeland had become a seabed. The people fled westward into the highlands of Britain or east into Europe. And over time, well, the story turned into silence, and it seems to have been forgotten. Chapter 5. The Legacy Beneath the Waves. For 1,000 years, Doggerland slept beneath layers of silt. Fishermen pulled bones and antlers from their nets, not knowing they'd held pieces of a lost world. Then in the 20th century, curiosity returned. Archaeologists began to recover artefacts. The Kalinda harpoon, carved from deer antler, dredged from the North Sea. Flint blades sharper than glass. Fragments of peat containing pollen, seeds, even traces of ancient DNA. And with each find whispered the same truth, that our ancestors once walked where travellers now pass, trawlers now pass. We stand upon their graves without even knowing. But maybe, just maybe, deep inside we do know. Maybe that pull that we feel toward the sea, that strange melanical looking out over the grey horizon, maybe that's memory calling us home. And so now we move into chapter 6, the last part in this episode. Reflection of the Wayfinder. They say memory lives in water. Every tide is an echo of what came before. Doggerland reminds us that nothing on this earth is permanent.
Power on.
Not nations.
Mode. Pairing.
Not cities.
Connected.
Not even continents. And yet, what was lost is never truly gone. It awaits beneath the surface, whispering through the currents. When I speak of the Wayfinder's path, this is what I mean. Walking not only through space, but through time, learning the lessons left beneath the waves. The people of Doggerland, the rising sea, was never the end to their world. To us, a warning and a promise that everything changes, something endures, the courage to adapt, to move, to remember. So take a breath, close your eyes and listen. The North Sea carries their heartbeat. So that is your introduction into Doggerland, and next time we will get into the people, we'll get into the footprints, and I'll talk about what it was like, how they lived, and the daily life, what they went through, what they endured. We'll look at the animal world. And then I'll connect it to the landscapes and the sacredness of it and the early spirituality. We'll look at the bloodlines beneath the sea. And and we'll watch how the world ended slowly. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I really do. I'm really going to enjoy doing this, and I hope you're looking forward to it as well. So what I am going to do, I'm going to leave you with a reflection for the day. And the music we're listening to again is by Kevin MacLeod, I believe. Oh no, this one is by Alexandra Nakarada. Again, it's free music that is available. So, I'm going to leave you with this reflection. Doggerland is not just lost land. It is a remembering. Once where there is now cold water and shipping lanes, there were fires, footprints, laughter carried on the wind, hand-shaping tools, stories and futures. And then the sea came, not with cruelty, but with inevitability. You see, Doggerland reminds us of truth, and modern man tries to forget. Nothing is permanent, not land, not empires, not certainty. Our ancestors did not vanish when the waters rose. They adapted, they walked inland. They carried their knowledge, their songs, their gods and their grief forward. And they became us. And so Doggerland is a mirror. It asks us quietly, what will we carry when our own tides rise? What knowledge will survive when comfort sinks? What values will stand when systems fail? We like to believe collapse is something happens to others, to ancient people in the distant times, but Doggerland whispers that collapse is part of the rhythm of life. And survival belongs not to the strongest, but to the ones who remember who they are. The sea did not erase Doggerland, it preserved it. Beneath the waves, the past waits, not to haunt us, but to guide us. Because buried history has a habit of returning when humanity is ready to listen again. And maybe that's why we feel it now. That pull, that ache, the sense that something was lost and must be found. Doggerland is calling us back to humility, back to the land, back to each other. Not to live in the past, but to walk forward with memory of who we have always been. Well, I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I am so grateful that you all join me and that our message is getting out there. Like I say, this is the first in a mini-series. And next episode we'll go into, like I say, the people, the way they lived, their shelters, etc. So if that sounds like something for you, please do come back and tune in. What I've decided is to do this once a week, and then I'll chuck up a recovery/spirituality episode as well. And we'll just go from there. And we'll see how things go. Feel free to message in, let me know what you think. And until next time, my day walkers, my creatures of night, my wanderers, my warriors, and everybody else in between, I wish you a beautiful day, and may the gods be with you.